Okay, we're recording. Happy Friday, everybody. It's Hit Record from home, doing something creative every day. Hope to inspire you to do the same thing. Stay creative together.
All right, there's grass, and my bum's wet because I'm outside, but it's very pretty here, so it's okay.
Today I wanted to check in on our short documentary project, Who Stays Home. So many contributions have been coming in. 1,000 different people. Through writing, through video, talking to the microphone, drawing, lip syncing, etc. Talking about this dynamic of who gets to stay home during this pandemic and who doesn't get to stay home. This project started because I read a piece of writing by Vicious Vixen talking about how frustrated and scared she was at not having the opportunity to stay home because she has to keep her job to support her family. And it really struck me because I'm very grateful and very lucky that I don't leave this house right now, and I'm able to work from home, and that's the experience of most people that I'm in contact with, and so it's been really, I think, illuminating for me to see what everyone else is experiencing. And certainly a lot of the contributions coming into this project are people in the same boat as me who are quarantining. And those, I think, are important stories to tell, and I think actually like the comparison or the difference between those two experiences of some people who are staying at home and some people who are not will make a really interesting dichotomy to whatever we end up making together. But today, I spent my creative time actually just reading, because there's been, I think, about 200 different writing contributions that have come into this project. And they're not tweets. A lot of people are really writing their experience, their life, and it's most of it's unfiltered and autobiographical. And first of all, just thank you to everybody. I spent today mostly really just reading through. I was looking for the people who are experiencing something different than what I'm experiencing, people who aren't staying home. And I found just lots of different pieces of writing of people who are essential workers in medical profession, food industry, people working in grocery stores, people working in restaurants, people working in financial services, though, people working in transportation, mechanics. What I thought would be an interesting thing is to put in a project, a voice acting challenge to read some of these pieces of writing that have been coming in from folks who are not staying at home. It's been really interesting for me to read. And so I've picked 10 of these pieces of writing. There's a lot more than that, lots of great ones, and I had to pick, and it's not because any are better than the other, but I just picked 10 that I thought, made a diverse range and might be interesting for us to be reading out loud. I'd love to hear you all read these pieces of writing out loud, so you can just open up this project and go to the voice acting step, and you can just swipe through these 10 different pieces of writing and hit the record button and read one. And I know for me personally, just doing that reading it's been a heavy experience, but I think a really fulfilling and a meaningful one, and you might find the same, especially if you are staying at home. It might be a refreshing reminder of a different experience and perspective from yours to read some of these pieces of writing and record yourself reading them aloud. You can do more than one take. You can, just really get into it, dive into the performance of it. I've talked about voice acting a bunch in this series, but it's a great way to practice acting. Just read out loud. This writing is very unfiltered. Like I said, it's not carefully written. It's not polished. And that just, to me, makes it all the more vivid. And some of it's shorter, some of it's longer. You see what resonates with you. See what makes you want to start saying the words out loud, and just give it a read. And I think we could maybe make use of some of the recordings here. Whether in this short documentary, or maybe we'll do a separate audio only version of this project. Maybe it could make for a podcast or something. But even for the documentary, we could use the voiceover and combine it with other cinematography or potentially even animation, photos, etc. But I think it would be really useful to have audio recordings of some of this great writing that's been coming in. So I'll do one now. This is a piece of writing called I'm Essential by Captain Sasquatch. I work as a material handler for a transport company. Our client is one of the larger oil companies in America. We have 3 shifts, 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. There are precautions in place, but the only hope is that everyone is following them. I'm scared. every single day because I don't know if someone else's selfishness or arrogance will cost me my life. About 8 years ago, I caught some still unknown illness that made it so I couldn't breathe. So I know that primal fear, that panic that comes from not being able to pull air into your lungs. I'm afraid, I'm angry, but I still have hope. Saving the world is a task too big for a single person to take on themselves, but doing their part, doing something good, making small changes, that makes a difference. It's not about what you're fighting against, it's about what you're fighting for. Humans are unmatched in their capacity for love. It gives strength that can't be measured. Who do you fight for? Who in your life gives you the strength to fight, to find out what happens tomorrow? I know exactly who gives me my strength. That one person who I would trade each star in the sky for another minute with them. When all the stars are gone, whatever being took that deal and kept all the stars for themselves would still not know the warmth, the beauty, or the love of that first minute. The world can be a scary place, but beauty, hope, and love will always outshine the darkness. Stand strong for those you love, no matter what happens. Yeah, so give a read to some of these pieces of writing. Do some acting over the weekend. And look through the rest of the project. Contribute anything you want. If you want to get on camera, tell your story. Especially if you're out there, really want to hear from you. And thanks. Have a great weekend, everybody. And see you next week. Thanks again.